for the NFC West lead. I mean, first place on the line, straight up, and that Rams defense flying around. They picked off Seattle QB Sam Darnold 4 times in that game. I know you'll talk more about it. You were there, but man, it was a battle. It was a great game, but that Rams defense might be the difference. We know they're going to score points, but that Rams defense might be the difference for a championship run this year.
Definitely. I have to say, the defenses were insanely good. That part of it was craziness for sure. I was like, how in the hell are we still in this game after 4 interceptions?
And that's the thing. Yeah, despite all that, you guys were still, in the game, down to 1 possession, down to the final drive of the game. All of that considered, yeah, you guys still had a chance to win it at the end. Just couldn't convert that long field goal. I think it was 60 yards, 61 yards, something like that, which I think it was well short and wide. But, man, you guys were there. Despite all that, playing bad, you guys still had a chance to win it in the end.
Yeah, I knew 55 is his max. And, I mean, don't forget last year, the exact same result. A kick to win from 55. He shanked it, did the same thing.
Man, so, I mean, it's critical, right, to have a great kicker. I'm a 49er fan. We struggled with Jake Moody for a couple of seasons before we got a new guy in there who can bang it from long. But, yeah, you guys gave yourself a chance to win.
And, I mean, look at the Rams. They've had their own kicking issues. They brought in Thicker the kicker, the big dude, and he was nailing them.
Yeah, I mean, the kicking game is critical, right? Especially if you know it's going to be a tight ball game. One of those games where whoever has the ball last is going to have a chance to win, last possession. And Seattle was penned up right near their own goal line. Just to get into field goal range was a big deal. And for them to come so close, but the Rams hold on at home, man. Credit to the Rams. They look like one of the teams to beat in the NFC. At least in the NFC, I would say they're probably one of the top 2 or 3 teams right now.
And then their competition uniforms, the black, they looked very cool.
Yeah, the black uniform instead of that, I think they call it bone, right? That kind of grayish color that, that black looked pretty sharp out there. Like they meant business, right, against Seattle in such an important game, like as we mentioned, for the NFC West lead. I mean, they both feel like playoff teams to me. I think they would both have to have a, monumental collapse not to get into the playoffs. But, man, the Rams look like the better team on that Sunday.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm just hoping that Sam won't throw 4 again. If he just throws 1 less interception, maybe we can win.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. Those 4 possessions that were turned back, because of interceptions. So if one of those gets to a field goal or a touchdown, that's the difference in the ball game right there.
Yeah.
So, all right, so huge win for the Rams against Seattle in the NFC West. As we jump over to the AFC West, man, the Denver Broncos are the team to beat in the AFC West right now. They have won 8 in a row. They beat Kansas City 22-19 on a last-second field goal, right? You got to have a great kicker. They win it on a field goal. They've won 8 in a row, as I mentioned. Kansas City, who's won that division title 9 years in a row, in serious jeopardy of not only not winning the division title, Patrick, Kansas City might not make the playoffs this year.
Has it finally happened where they've had the crazy collapse? We just kind of assumed that he's going to go to the AFC Championship game because that's what he's always done. But even he is human.
Man, Chiefs Kingdom, right? Chiefs Kingdom might be coming to a close. I mean, are they still a dangerous team? Would anybody want to go to Kansas City and have to play them, to get into the playoffs or win a playoff game? No, I don't think so. They still have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. I mean, they're still dangerous, but they are certainly not the same team. And again, they might not even make the playoffs, so they might not even be a factor in terms of the Super Bowl chase this year.
Maybe they need a rest because they've played so much extra football. I don't know.
A lot of football the last, 9 seasons plus, with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid taking over and being basically, almost a shoo-in to make the Super Bowl or make a deep playoff run. That's a lot of football games. But right now, that was a huge win by Denver. Denver's the team to beat in the AFC West, ahead of Kansas City. Certainly ahead of the LA Chargers as well, who dropped a real bad one against Jacksonville, 35-6. Justin Herbert had just 81 yards. And Patrick, I think we talked about this last week. Jacksonville's had some games where they look tough. I mean, they beat my 49ers. They've beaten some quality teams. And then they've had some other games. It's like, man, who are these guys? So they're kind of Jekyll and Hyde, but they picked a really good time to, beat a tough Chargers team and not just beat them, but, man, in convincing fashion, 35-6.
Like Justin Herbert, he was getting hurt. And, I mean, speaking of hurt, does it make you think, finally the injuries caught up with our LA Chargers?
Yeah, they've got injuries in critical positions, right? And you can only limp along for so long. And Justin Herbert, who is an all-world quarterback, he can only do so much. If the Jacksonville Jaguars are like, hey, don't let Herbert beat us. Whatever we do, we got to get to him. We've got to disrupt that pocket. We got to make life hard for him on Sunday. If we do that, we feel like the rest of the team can't carry the weight. Well, maybe that's the recipe, because that's exactly what they did, man. It was a long day at the office for Justin Herbert. This, at least in my recent memory, the worst game that he's had in a Chargers uniform.
Yeah, I think so, for sure. They've kind of bottomed out a little bit.
Yeah, so that AFC West, very strange, with the Broncos sitting on top, all alone atop the AFC West right now. Back to the NFC real quick, just for one more game. Eagles beat the Lions 16-9. If you're a Rams fan and a Seahawks fan like yourself, Patrick, keeping an eye on that one, because those are two of the better teams in the NFC as well. And it was a big win for Philadelphia, 16-9. The Super Bowl champs flexing their muscles in this one. And our guy Jaelan Phillips, the pride of Redlands East Valley High School, recently traded from the Dolphins to the Eagles, bolstering that Philly defense. He had a sack, he had 5 tackles. I think he had 4 quarterback hurries. I mean, they added Jaelan Phillips to the mix. Man, Philadelphia's defense looks tough.
Yes, they do. Jalen Carter,
yes.
Phillips. I mean, look out, man. And then they just march down the field, don't they? Everyone's complaining it's not exciting. It's like, whatever. They just march down the field. They don't need to get a zillion yards. They can just keep it moving, man. And they did it so many times. They make the tush push look so easy.
Yeah, you hold Detroit's offense to 9 points, and Jalen Hurts in that offense does just enough. In fact, the last 2 weeks, I think they've scored like less than 20 points, but they've won each of those games. I mean, that defense and just having timely offensive drives down the field. Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, pick any guy on offense, or Saquon Barkley, they're not going to win the NFL MVP or win any, stats, because they're not having huge years when you look at the numbers, but they just win football games. And at the end of the day, isn't that what it's about, winning football games?
They are good in that column, which is what matters.
That's what matters, man. The W's and the titles. All right, and finally, college football, Patrick. Great weekend of college football in terms of who's going to win championships, who's going to get into the postseason playoff picture in the Big Ten. We saw USC come back and beat the Iowa Hawkeyes. What a great comeback for the Trojans in the second half. 26-21 was the final score. They trailed 21-7. They come back and win that one. And also, Georgia hammering Texas 35-10. So the Longhorns might be out of the playoff picture at the end of the season. And then Oklahoma beating Alabama 23-21. So the path still a little bit open for USC when you combine their score along with some of those important games taking place in the SEC.
Yep, you told us about it on Thursday, man, that we had a big college plate of football coming at us. And, man, it was. And just like you predicted, it is going to tell us a lot about that playoff picture. And it did.
Yeah, because when you look at, college football, the landscape, we talked about the Power 5 before, now it's the Power 4. It's really the Power 2, right? Which Big Ten teams and which SEC teams are going to get in the playoffs, because there's going to be a bunch, I think, from both of those conferences. There might be a couple outliers here and there that sneak in from, that's not Big Ten or not SEC. But if you're a USC fan, you got to keep an eye on what's going on in the SEC as well as the Big Ten, because that's going to really shape that 12-team playoff at the end of the season.
Absolutely. My USC friend said at the game that, even though it was pouring and everyone was in their ponchos, that Iowa, when they were doing well, they were saying, hey, this is Big Ten country, talking a lot of smack to USC. So it was a very satisfying victory to come back and kind of show, which we've kind of seen a little bit, how these teams can hang. And It was kind of thought that they couldn't.
Big Ten football, man, is legit. That's big boy football. Even the Iowa Hawkeyes, who might not be one of the best teams in the Big Ten, but they're near the top. I mean, they might not beat Ohio State or one of those schools, but they're really good. And that was kind of like a playoff game for USC. If you lose that one, you are not getting into the playoffs. They had to win that one, at least stay in that playoff picture.
Yeah, man, we had a big weekend, just like you said. And I have to admit, that Seahawks-Rams thing, it had a playoff feel to it. I mean, tension was in the building. Lots of Seahawks fans, of course, just like always. But, I mean, it felt like a playoff game.
Man, Rams and Seahawks, USC and Iowa. Man, it was a great weekend of just football, period, in Southern California.
Just duking it out.
Yes,
just like
in
we
the
do
rain.
every single Monday and Thursday with our guy Pep. Tell me how to get your stuff.
Get my stuff on Inland Sports on X, on Instagram, and Facebook. We also do Inland Sports on YouTube. Check us out. It's Inland Sports.
Thanks, Pep.